Oceans cover more than 2/3 of our planet. Not only a vast multi-trillion-dollar resource, but also crucial in the cycle of life itself. On the shores of the Gulf, a research team from Qatar's Environmental Studies Centre, on its way to study a vital component of the world's oceans, mangroves. The salt marshes here providing an ecosystem uniquely adapted to the Gulf's extreme conditions and home to all types of animals. They're also capable of storing up to 8 times more CO2 than tropical forests, and it's important to understand how they work.
We are looking at the capability of the mangrove to absorb nutrients, the capability for it to store carbon, the support it gives to the local fisheries and the species diversity in the Gulf.
And the bottom line is, fragile ecosystems like mangroves are fundamental to the general state of health of the world's oceans.
The problem is that mangroves are being ripped up and destroyed along coastlines all over the world. In fact, the rate of loss is more than 3 times that of deforestation on land. And of course, as far as oceans are concerned, it doesn't end there.
According to a worldwide Fund for Nature report, the entire multi-trillion-dollar marine resource is in danger of failing. The oceans are changing faster than at any other point in tens of millions of years, with intense pressure from overfishing, pollution and acidification.
The acceleration that we have seen in the last particularly 100 years is staggering. And, ecosystem like oceans can recover, and this is the good news, can recover very fast if we don't reach the tipping point, if we don't reach the no return point. But we are at risk in the next 20 years or so that if this continues, actually the ocean will not be able to recover for hundreds of years, for generations to come.
The message is we are running down our ocean assets and pushing the marine economy into the red. By couching the ocean's now flagging health in sheer monetary terms, the report's authors hope they're speaking a language the world's decision makers may just understand. Nick Clark, Al Jazeera.
John Tanza is director of the WWF's Global Marine Programme and editor-in-chief of this report, Reviving the Ocean Economy. He joins us from Singapore. Welcome to the programme. So $2.5 trillion a year, it's a massive figure. How did you even arrive at this number, and why do you think it's important to place a value on the oceans?
Well, if I start with the last part first, why it's important is because, as the introduction said, the oceans are under increasing pressure, and it's important that ocean health is recognised as being critical to economic well-being. This is the point that the report sets out to make. Now, we were advised on the valuation figures that are used by the eminent consulting group BCG, which went through a process of valuing the assets and valuing the flows of goods and services that come from those assets over time. The point I'd just make here too is that the estimates, though large, though huge, are almost certainly underestimates, and we know that they're underestimates because of the lack of data and because of the lack of information on certain habitat types, particularly the deep water habitats. But nevertheless, they seek to make the point of just how valuable the oceans are and what we stand to lose unless we turn around the decline.
Okay, so overfishing, destruction of coral reefs and mangrove forests are some of the reasons why the value of oceans are falling. Could this report, though, have some sort of an adverse effect by encouraging activities that exploit the ocean's treasures?
No, I don't think it will, because it shows the fragility. This report allies the science in terms of the state of the oceans and the impacts on the oceans with the economic value. And so what it does is frame the economic value in the context of the threats and the pressures and how they're escalating. And just to say that those pressures that you talked about of pollution, overfishing, loss of key habitat are all being exacerbated at the present time by the effects of climate change.
Okay, very quickly, John, what can we do as individuals to make our waters better?
I think the first thing we can do is understand the importance of the oceans. We can, of course, all take actions in terms of how we live our lives, in terms of the things that we put down the sink, for instance, or the fish species that we consume. But more importantly, I think at the government level, we can bring pressure on our governments to assist them in their efforts to globally cooperate, to take action. And this report sets out 8 actions, which are a pathway to hope, but also the urgency around those actions needs to be emphasised. Thank you.